making big ideas happen to create future cities. And I think this is particularly important with an emphasis on the word happen. It's about implementation, it's about execution, it's about taking those great ideas and making sure that they become a reality. And who better to interview than someone who is at the heart of much of what Dubai is doing. His achievements and his titles are far too numerous to mention all of them here, but let me mention a few to you. He is the CEO of Dubai Holding, which is of course a multi-billion-dollar organization spanning technology, hospitality, real estate, many other areas, including media, my own field. He's the chairman of the telecommunications company Do, and he is the chairman of the Smart Dubai Executive Committee. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, will you please join me in welcoming this morning His Excellency Ahmad Bin Bayt. Just remind us in your words what happiness means to you and how you take that concept and that vision and implement it in your daily decisions.
I think happiness is a very relative thing, but overall, I believe it is there's two parts to it, I think. One is if you have a meaningful relationships with human around you, be it your family or your colleagues or what have you, and if you have meaningful work, because this is where you spend your time, otherwise you're asleep. Then if you have these two meaningful relationships, then this should translate into happiness. And if we take this concept and which we build our idea on for the smart Dubai, then Dubai wants to be able to provide you as a resident in the city with a meaningful platform, whether you are working or you are interacting with other humans outside that space. So in a nutshell, it is that meaningful relationship which Dubai wants to provide to its residents on the longer term and on a sustainable basis as well.
His Excellency is very happy to take questions from the floor a little bit later on, so please be thinking about a question you might have for him, and we'll come to you in about 15 or 20 minutes or so. But if I can follow up with a question about Smart City 2021, the vision, but also the concrete steps to make it happen, as you say. You're a business leader, you're also a government leader. How do you take that concept of happiness, and what steps are you implementing to make Dubai a happier city and a smarter city?
The ambition for Dubai to be a smart city is quite a big ambition, to be the smartest city in the world. And again, like happiness is a relative term, smartness is also a relative term. So smart to you may mean something else than someone else. But as long as the platform you are operating within provides you with the efficiency as a human being. It doesn't waste your time, it recognizes your priorities, it facilitates your requirements in a very seamless way. It allows you enough time to spend with your family or with your colleagues or with the people you like. It doesn't waste your time in queues or in traffic jams or what have you. Then that is what we are aiming to do. Eventually, having this bold vision of being the smartest city in the world is a very large one. However, we try to organize ourselves in certain ways. We have developed a roadmap, and that is, of course, a very collaborative work. This has happened predominantly at the first stage with all of the major players. The smart government is a fundamental player in this, as well as many other governmental departments who predominantly are service providers or infrastructure providers for the people of the city. Also, there are interactions with our private sector players like the telecom operators, Now we are moving towards interactions with for example, the financial service providers like banks and others. Later on, there will be more of an extensive sort of interactions with other layers of the private sectors. Priorities within these interactions and operations over time is basically to how do you, what do you require and who plays what role within this context. This is a very complex operation. It is happening on its own anyway. We see the IoTs, and we see all of the new devices and the new technologies coming up every day in different ways, and we don't intend to control these. However, we need to channel this energy in the best possible way so that the city becomes the beneficiaries and the residents become the beneficiary of this. Having said that, we are extremely lucky in the city and in the country as well, really by having a very robust infrastructure. Without a very robust infrastructure, whether you know the telco infrastructure, the wireline, the wireless, such ambitions will not be possible. Second, and a very important reason is also the appetite and adaptability of the people. The people who are in this country are they have a very high appetite to technology, and they're very adaptable because they're very, almost all of them are very professional people, meaning they wake up in the morning and they do something. They all engage, they are all employed, either self or employees or something. So getting people to adapt technology, getting people to change their habits and explore and take risks is not very difficult, actually very easy. There's no point of being called smart city and if the people don't benefit from it. And building anything smart is really for people to use it, because if people don't use it, then it's not smart. It's a waste of money. And we are a city which we think efficiency and productivity is very high on our agenda.
So personally, which of these areas of the Internet of Things particularly excites you? None of us knows exactly how this will work out, but you have a good sense. Is it the personal connectivity, the tablets, the watches, the medical devices, or is it the bigger picture macro stuff, the smart traffic, the smart grid, electricity innovations that we're seeing?
For a city like Dubai, I think the more important things are really, because we are a very rapidly growing city, and from a physical point of view. We are also a rapidly growing city from a population point of view. And both these things work together. And if your population grows, then you would require more dwellings, then you would require more physical things, buildings, homes, roads, etc., to support these people. Our priority is by default on the physical things, on the smart building infrastructure, on these type of systems, because these are the ones which makes us more efficient. It makes us deliver better seamless services to our customers, meaning the city residents, and also allows us to be cost effective to the end users. Of course, there are a lot of innovations in the IoTs, and all of you know this. I'm no expert in IoTs, but we see them everywhere. We see them on humans, on animals, on plants, on buildings. We see them everywhere. There are other things which are going to come. Some will come and go away like many other technologies, but some will stick. I think personally, the development of IoTs in medicine is quite interesting, and I think they will be catching up very rapidly.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll take a couple more questions. Yes, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency and Mr. Dean. I'm Christopher Phillip from the Climate Institute in Washington, D.C., and my question is somewhat of a follow-on in that if you could prioritize, or if you had a wish list for the order of importance of these applications to Dubai, Mr. Dean had mentioned transport, energy efficiency, environmental monitoring, education and healthcare have come up. So the first question would be, what do you see as the priority applications?
Thank you very much indeed. We'll leave it there because time is short. Thank you, sir. Great
Thanks.
question. Which is a priority for you?
A priority is size. Size matters in this type of things, and I think smart buildings is number one for sure because it's the largest. Transport is going to follow, followed by energy, water, and then anything else you like, really.
Thank you very much indeed. So smart buildings, followed by transportation, energy and water. Thank you very much indeed. We've got time for perhaps one or two more questions. Who's got the next question?
Excuse me. Here.
Yes, please. Thank you, sir.
I'm Hari Padmanabhan from Encore. Like you said, Your Excellency, the trick is really the adoption. The benefit reaches the users when they actually use the infrastructure that you are building. So how do you plan to drive adoption? Is it through any mandation or is it left to people to do it the way they want?
Thank you very much indeed. Just to repeat the question, how do you plan to drive adoption, encourage people to adopt these new smart technologies and behaviors?
There's many ways of really doing this, and again, we're not inventing anything. They're all sort of textbook. There will be an increased customer awareness. There will be public consultations as well in what they want and what they like to have. There will also be some sort of public involvement in designing the concepts for these services. We cannot continue producing products and hoping people like them or don't like them. And then if they don't like them, we shut them down. That's not the way it's going to be because this is waste of resources. What we will do is there will be more public consultation before a product or a service is launched to the public to ensure that is this what they need, is this what they want or not.
Thank you very much indeed for your comments. We appreciate it this morning.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.